Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another request from my good friend Efree. And if anyone wants to request any type of reviews, topics, reactions, lists, news, re-reviews, games, movies, pretty much any type of videos, you just send your requests either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is a Blu-ray review of Narrow Margin. Now, Narrow Margin, once again from Tino Lorber. I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. They have the same type of packaging, no artwork, basic text, two pictures at the top. Now, Narrow Margin, it is a remake of a film from back in the day, and it's not like a beat for beat remake, but it's still someone protecting the woman while people try to kill her on this train. So fairly similar on the basic level, but not the detailed levels. Now, before I get into the Blu-ray, the movie itself, I've always enjoyed this film. I think I saw this on DVD because I'm a big fan of Gene Hackman. I know he's retired, but I love Uncommon Valor, one of my favorite films ever. And I've never seen Gene Hackman give a bad performance, whether it be from behind enemy lines, whether it be in Superman, whether it be in The French Connection. The French Connection, too, I rather enjoy. And he does a great job here. He plays a district attorney who finds his murder witness, played by Ann Archer. They're being chased. Some people get killed. And throughout, you get some really solid action scenes, including this chase through the woods and a helicopter shooting at them. And then you get a lot of tense moments on this train where they think they're safe, bad guys get on the train, and they have to figure out what to do next. And you get some solid stunt work where you see Gene Hackman himself on top of the train or on the side of the train. And I would say it's more of a thriller, but it does have action moments. And I'm a big fan of the director. The director is Peter Hyams. He would be in my top 10 favorite directors. Peter Hyams, to me, does not get the credit he deserves. Because I look at his filmography and I go, I don't mind Capricorn 1. I love 2010. It was ballsy to make a sequel to a Stanley Kubrick film. That is ballsy, because it's Stanley Kubrick, known as one of the greatest directors ever. And I like Stanley Kubrick. I love 2001. But 2010, I would say I like more. Now, 2001, I would say, is the better directed, with this grand, epic feel of the music and just the way that's directed. But 2010 is more accessible because that I enjoy more the story and the characters. And it's a very solid double feature. It really is. Because 2001, you get into the grand scale and feel of the cinematic experience. And then part 2 of the story, you get into the plot, the characters, the plot of this arms race and tension between these two countries, which was adamant at that time. Roy Scheider, John Lithgow, Bob Balaban. I get more into the actors. I really love Roy Scheider. John Lithgow is fun. You even have a very young Helen Mirren. And it's a nice, worthy follow-up that does not insult the original, but at the same time doesn't try to be a copy of Stanley Kubrick. Peter Hyams knew that would be a failure if he tried to be another Stanley Kubrick. So it's like, I'm a fan of that film, but I want to do my movie. And I think he did a wonderful job. 2010, the year we made content, worthwhile sequel. Outland, my favorite Sean Connery film. I could buy that movie being the same universe as Ridley Scott's Alien, which I think would actually be fun. Because it's the same feel, look, like an Alien. Only that movie is Sean Connery as his marshal on one of the moons of Jupiter in the station, and it's a takeoff of High Noon, the Western. So it's a space Western, which is very cool. And my favorite Sean Connery role. I love Outland. Take it over. Going on, there's Running Scared, entertaining buddy cop film with Billy Crystal and, oh, I know his name, Gregory Hines. Then you have, I know I'm going to forget, the Stay Tuned is a very funny movie with John Ritter, my favorite John Ritter film. Very creative with the different TV channels from hell, Dwayne's Underworld, Driving Over Miss Daisy. There's, this was in the early 90s. Very worthwhile thriller. There's Time Cop, and there's The Relic, one of my favorite monster movies. There's End of Days, one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger films. I mean, he tells the devil to go fuck himself, pretty much. You want to fuck with me? You're a fucking cowboy compared to me. A cowboy. He shoots the devil with a grenade launcher. Come on, what is so fucking wrong with End of Days? He shoots the devil with a grenade launcher. And tells him, you want to fuck with me? I love End of Days. So that's something like Peter Hyams, The Star Chamber, that has Michael Douglas and Yaphet Kotto. I like that one. Do I like every single one he's done? No, I wasn't big on this one called Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. A Sound of Thunder is an interesting failure because there's a lot of problems. And A Sound of Thunder is an unfinished movie. And that's why it's interesting to look at, and I could see the potential of a fun creature feature if he had the ability to finish it and not with all the fuck-ups that happen with the money being taken away and all these floods and all this chaos and the company shut down and you have this unfinished movie. So it's an interesting failure. But getting back to this, it's not a review of the film, but just to mention a couple things. Like Gene Hackman, he pulls it off very well, like always. Supporting cast, you have people like J.T. Walsh, who was in Breakdown and Outbreak and Needful Things. You got Emmett Walsh, who was in Missing in Action and Red Scorpion and Critters. You got wonderful cinematography because Peter Hyams is one of those directors that did a lot of his own cinematography, especially later on in his career. I don't think he did it for Outland, but to a point, like this movie and I think Time Cop, like he did a lot of his own DP, like I did cinematography work. Now the picture quality, it does seem a little dark, but I don't think that's the picture. I think that's mainly Peter Hyams, the way his films look. The Relic is the same way. Even End of Days is a little bit the same way. And while I wish it was a little bit brighter, and technically you could do that on your TV, it's not dark, like, I can't see shit. I'm just saying, if people watch this, they don't... That's more Peter Hyams' style of filming. Again, if you watch The Relic and others, he kind of does the same way. And I actually didn't mind it. It actually looked pretty cool watching it again. Because at least it brought a certain mood, especially when they're inside the train, compared to like movies today where they don't give a fuck about lighting. Just it's all in a computer and shit. Like I says, this is a more of a Blu-ray review. Like, so the picture quality I was fine with. The features, there's a trailer to the film. There's also trailers to Prime Cut, which is a film with Lee Marvin and Gene Hackman, which I've never seen. Company Business, that's with Gene Hackman and I think Mikhail Baryshnikov, or I forget the guy's name. The Package with Gene Hackman and Tommy Lee Jones. There's 9 minutes of B-roll footage, which is 9 minutes of just showing the behind the scenes, in particular when they're filming on top of the train. You know, that was cool to see. A 5-minute making of from back in the day. And 2 commentaries. A commentary with Peter Hyams and a commentary with film historian and critic Peter Tongwet. I think the Peter Hyams commentary might have been from an old DVD. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on that. It might be from an older release. The weird thing about Peter Hyams' commentary, number one, he does not start until the end credits end. I mean, the beginning credits. When the opening credits start, he's not talking. He only starts talking when the opening credits end. I thought that was strange. And there are moments where there's dead spots, dead spaces. So, and, you know, Peter Hyams, I like him as a director. He's not really the guy with the most fascinating commentary for me, because he did like a commentary for End of Days, and he's a bit boring for me to listen to. What I got out of it was he was searching through old movie classics that might be good to do a remake, but ones that were not too well known. So he found this and he wrote it. Like I said, did the cinematography, directed it. He loved working with Gene Hackman. I think there are dead spots, and then he tells a little bit more of the technical aspects. What he wanted to get out of the movie, why he did certain shots the way they happened. And the film critic, he wrote for the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. He's written books like Orson Welles Remembered. Very serious dissertation of the movie. He's a big fan of the film. But it sounds more like a seminar. It's nice that he likes the film. Like, he really likes the film. And he's taking it seriously, but at the same time, it sounds like a seminar. Like if you went to college and this teacher's telling you the various intricacies, the certain intricacies of this scene and what it meant and what it feels. I mean, just very, very serious. What you would imagine someone from the Wall Street Journal would sound like doing a commentary. And he talks about Peter Hyams as a filmmaker. He's a big fan of Hanover Street, which was a film Peter Hyams did with Harrison Ford. Narrow Margin, Busting, which was a very early film he did with Elliot Gould. He talks about how his films are exemplary even if the stories were not that good. So he doesn't really say what movies he's talking about, but you get the idea that other than those films I mentioned, Narrow Margin, Busting, it's like he doesn't think that well of Peter Hyams' other work, but he doesn't say it. Again, pretty much he says is that even if the films aren't good, he does exemplary cinematography direction. But he doesn't go into detail either. Like he talks about how he first did not like 2010 because he was a big Stanley Kubrick fan. But then he does mention that it's worth a fresh look. That was nice. He thinks The Hunger is Tony Scott's best film. I'm like, I don't agree one fucking bit, but to each their own. I know my friend Efree would not agree with that either. So, I guess if you want a very serious, almost scholarly commentary on the making on his pretty much elongated review, as well as talking a little bit about Peter Hyams as a director, I would never listen to it again because I found it dull because of the tone and way. Like, I did it because it's not like a party movie, but I guess for those very super serious about filmmaking, you want to listen to every bit of typical, watch the Peter Hyams one, or how to structure certain sequences and the way it's lit and the way this happens. You can listen to the Peter's Tongret's commentary, but for me the features were a dud. That's my opinion. But again, I'm glad to have the film on Blu-ray because the picture quality looked nice, and I only had the DVD. I do think it's an upgrade from the DVD. That's just me. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.